"I've got proof of your cheating," Barbara, Tom's mom, said confidently. She had suspected I was having an affair for a while. She pointed out that since the fertility tests didn't find any issues, the only reason I hadn't gotten pregnant with Tom must be because I was cheating on him. She claimed I'd been using birth control so there wouldn't be any confusion over whose kid it was, Tom's or some other guy's. Really? Well, Mom, nice one. So she was cheating after all. Now we have reason to kick her out. Tom's whole family was stoked. Tom, his dad Mike, and his sister Amy just took Barbara's word for it, even though his family had always treated me like crap. Actually, I've had surveillance cameras in my room for a while now. Sure enough, I saw some good footage. Barbara said there had been signs of suspicious activity in her room for some time and that she had installed surveillance cameras. She directed those suspicions at me. Barbara operated a tablet and showed the video. However, what was shown was beyond their imagination. My name is Layla. I'm 35 years old, and I work from home for a design company. Currently, I live with Tom and his parents, Mike and Barbara, and his sister, Amy. I never intended to live with his family, but I agreed because Tom said I was worried about my parents. Living with his family made commuting to my design company's office difficult, as it was far away. I had discussed living with his family with my company, prepared to resign. Instead, they proposed remote work. Thanks to that, I've been able to continue working after getting married. I love my job, and I am deeply grateful for the company's proposal. Design work is fun, and I often get absorbed in it. Speaking of which, I still haven't cleaned the kitchen. I stopped the work I was doing on my computer and headed to the kitchen. Barbara had asked me to clean it, and she'd surely have something to say if it wasn't done before she got back. Barbara doesn't think highly of my job. She thinks I'm just earning pocket change on the internet and scoffs at my design work as Louis income. Really, don't get obsessed with that silly side hustle and do your job as a homemaker properly, she always says as she leaves the house. Moreover, I'm the only one who does the chores in this house. It can't be helped. Tom is busy with work. It's sales, so he often comes home late. His parents and his sister, Amy, say they are busy with hobbies and work and hardly ever come home. Mike often goes out at night, indulging in gambling, a habit he picked up after his retirement. I think he's addicted to gambling. Barbara and Amy splurge on spas and expensive shopping. It all started because Amy, aspiring to be a stage actress, pestered Barbara for designer brands and fancy spas. Noticing the allure of Amy's hobbies, Barbara also began to enjoy the luxury with her. I think the reason his parents have gotten into expensive hobbies so frequently is that there are no grandchildren between Tom and me. His parents have been saying since we got married that they want to see grandchildren soon, but we haven't been able to have children yet. Barbara has always told me that the reason for the infertility lies with me. Of course, I want children too. I'm actively trying to conceive, but Tom's cooperation is essential for fertility efforts. When Barbara and Mike were not in the living room, I told Tom about the fertility efforts and asked for his cooperation. I'm already 35. Getting pregnant is probably impossible. Besides, having a child costs a lot of money. Just give up, Tom said, turning away and drinking a can of beer. Then at least let's get a fertility test. It won't take much time. That's a waste of time. Tests won't mean anything. They're a hassle and cost money, Tom replied, putting his beer on the table and going up to the bedroom. In that manner, Tom always opposed the fertility efforts. Even when I consulted Barbara, she would blame me, saying, "It must be your lack of persuasion, Layla. Besides, it's silly to ask Tom for help when the problem is you." With no other choice, I went to get a fertility test by myself. The results showed no issues, believing me that the infertility wasn't my fault. I immediately showed Barbara the results from the hospital, telling her that the infertility wasn't due to me. Then Barbara said something outrageous. "You're physically able to have children, but you don't. You must be cheating. You've been using birth control this whole time because you don't know if the child is Tom's or your lover's." "I know it all. Cheating." "I haven't done anything like that." I firmly denied it, but Barbara wouldn't listen. "Mom, why are you making such a big fuss?" Amy came over, looking tired. Behind her were Tom and Mike. Barbara had told Tom, Mike, and Amy that I was having an affair. All three of them believed Barbara's bizarre claim, and they all became convinced that I was cheating. Moreover, Barbara had been telling the neighbors that I was cheating, and Tom had been spreading the word at his workplace. Because of this, I got harsh looks from the neighbors and Tom's coworkers. Even going out for groceries meant facing cold stares from the neighborhood, making even small outings painful. When I told my coworkers about you, they said, "Divorce her ASAP, so you should just get out of here already." Every time he went to a company gathering, Tom would talk about me as the cheating wife, and he seemed to get sympathy from his colleagues. Furthermore, his family's attitude toward me had gotten harsher, and they began to meddle in everything I did. "Who'd eat this awful food? Let's go out to eat. It'll definitely taste better." "Yeah, let's all go. I want to eat French food." "That sounds good. Let's do that." "Get out already. You cheat." Poor Tom. Mike gestured to Barbara, Tom, and Amy, and they left the house. Amy smirked triumphantly. Ignoring Amy, I started to clear away the uneaten food and began the household chores that hadn't been finished during the day. This kind of exchange had become a daily occurrence. Since then, they have been eating out almost every day, which only worsened their spending habits. While it's a relief that his family doesn't come home much, the terrible treatment I receive every time we meet is exhausting. Tom also suspects me of cheating, and sometimes I think getting a divorce might be easier. While working, I started to research life after divorce and prepared to leave at any moment by packing the essentials in a suitcase. However, part of me wanted to clear up the reason we hadn't been able to have children, so I gave Tom an at-home fertility test kit over the weekend. Of course, I didn't tell him it was a fertility test. I just handed it over with some excuse, unaware that what I gave him was a fertility test kit. Tom agreed to do the test. After he took the test, I immediately mailed the fertility test kit, and then all that was left was to wait for the results. The results would be out in a week. Thinking about how eager I was for the next week to come, I went home that night. While I was putting away the laundry, Tom suddenly came over to me, his face red with anger. "Layla, the test you made me take today at noon was a fertility test, wasn't it? Why would you do something like this without asking? Because you refused to take a fertility test. What if those test results aren't good? Are you going to try and say it's my fault we can't have kids? The real problem here is you cheating on me. You're always missing the point. You're just hopeless." Tom then insisted I call off the fertility test, but I told him I had already sent in the test kit, so it was too late for that. Always doing things your way. He grew even angrier. A few days later, after dining at an upscale restaurant, Barbara and Amy returned home. Barbara looked at me with a smirk. Despite feeling a strange unease, I pretended not to care and continued with my chores. Later, Tom and Mike came home. As I was about to say, "Welcome back," Barbara stepped in front of Tom and Mike. "Mike, Tom, could you sit down for a moment? Amy and Layla, you too," Barbara said as if she had been waiting for this moment. What was about to start? Unaware of what was going on, we all waited as Barbara began to speak. "I've actually caught Layla cheating." "Really? Well, Mom, nice one. So she was cheating after all." Now we have reason to kick her out." Barbara watched their reactions, grinning. Then she started operating the tablet. As she fiddled with the tablet, Barbara continued talking cheerfully. "Actually, I had installed a surveillance camera in my room a while back. Sure enough, I captured some good footage." Barbara had been aware of suspicious activities in her room during the day for quite some time. This was because traces of such activities had been left behind. Convinced that the culprit was Layla, Barbara had bought a surveillance camera and installed it in the room. With a confident look, Barbara showed the video on the tablet. She pressed the play button and the video started. The video showed a man and a woman going into Barbara's room and doing inappropriate things, just like she said. Mike and Amy, sitting nearby, turned pale. Barbara continued playing the video, oblivious to their reactions. However, the video was dark, and it was hard to tell who the people in it were. Barbara paused the video and zoomed in on the woman. This long hair, it's definitely Layla. She was indeed cheating. I stared intently at the woman in the video. Indeed, my hair is long, but there were unmistakable discrepancies between myself and the woman in the video. The woman in the video has brown hair, my hair is black, and that woman is not me. What? In fact, I have black hair and have never dyed it. Barbara looked back and forth between me and the woman in the video, dumbfounded. Maybe it just looked that way. Let's continue watching the video. No, wait a minute. I took the tablet from Barbara and scrutinized the video. Indeed, the woman in the video was not me. "Hey, Layla, are you trying to cover something up right now? It's useless to do so." Ignoring Tom's voice, I looked at the tablet. Mike, sitting across from me, was shaking as he looked at me. As I advanced the video slightly, the characters became clearer. A woman with brown hair, a man with graying hair. It felt strangely familiar. I looked up at Mike and Amy. Mike and Amy, sitting across from Barbara, had pale faces. In contrast, Barbara, looking satisfied, presented a stark difference. The three of them showed such opposite reactions. It was almost amusing. Trying to hold back laughter, I zoomed in on the questionable actions on the tablet and showed it to Barbara, Mike, and Amy. "This video, that's you and Amy, right, Mike?" "Layla, don't say weird things." "But from the hairstyle, it looks like you and Amy in this video. If we advance it a little more, you'll see." I pressed the play button on the tablet and advanced the video. As the video played on, the faces of a man and woman became clearer. "This outfit, I bought it for Amy last week." Indeed, the faces do look just like Dad and Amy. Barbara looked at Amy, her eyes wide with surprise. Amy twitched her shoulders and averted her gaze from Barbara. "Mike, Amy, it was you who were involved. That's not right." Mike grabbed the tablet from me and started fumbling with it, looking panicked. He seemed unfamiliar with the tablet, fumbling quite a bit, in fact. Mike and Barbara were both remarried to each other. Each had children from previous relationships. Mike's child was Tom, and Barbara was Amy. That is, Mike and Amy were not blood related. Still, engaging in infidelity is unquestionably wrong. "All right, this should be fine now." Mike placed the tablet on the table with a relieved expression. "You erased the video, you coward." Barbara yelled at Mike, her face turning bright red. "There's no evidence now, so there's no use in saying much," Mike said, looking down on Barbara. Barbara clenched her fists in frustration, trembling with anger. Suddenly, there was a series of loud banging noises. At the same time, a woman's shrill voice could be heard. Unable to discern where the sound was coming from, we all looked around. "Hey, that sound isn't coming from the tablet." I leaned in and peered at the tablet. The video playing on the tablet showed a man and a woman being unfaithful to their partners. It wasn't Mike and me. Who could it be? I stopped the playback and zoomed in on the tablet screen. Mike frantically peered into the tablet screen. "Isn't that Barbara and Tom?" I stared intently at the tablet's video. Indeed, the man in the video was only wearing a blouse on his upper body. It was probably 1755. Tom, moreover, a piece of clothing from a brand that Barbara favored, was lying on the floor next to the woman in the video. Just like Mike said, it does look like Tom and Barbara. It's not what it looks like. This is ignoring Barbara's voice. The video continued, setting up a surveillance camera only to capture her own infidelity, which was quite foolish. I almost laughed at the irony of it. When I sped up the video, next appeared Tom and Amy, clearly engaged in an affair. The sloppy state of Tom and Amy was clearly visible. Look, Tom, not just with Barbara, but with Amy too. Layla, this is different. How can this be? I can't believe Tom was involved with them. That's my line to say. Bro, hitting on mom is just gross. Shut up, Amy, you're not any better. They started arguing without caring about me. I never imagined their relationships could be this messed up. I was appalled by their ugly quarrel. Anyway, I'm going to divorce Tom. Don't just say stuff like that in this tough situation. Are you planning to abandon us? I don't have any sympathy left for you. I went to my room and took out the suitcase I had packed beforehand. Before leaving the house, I grabbed the tablet from where they had started arguing. I transferred the videos of Barbara and Tom and Amy's affairs to my smartphone. I did this because I thought they could serve as evidence in case of future mediation or legal proceedings. As they continued to argue, I left the house. As I left, I noticed neighbors had gathered nearby. What's going on here? I asked everyone from the neighbors. I learned they had heard the arguing and were a bit concerned. I explained in detail what had caused the fight while the neighbors nodded in surprise. Their gazes were still harsh. I couldn't tell if they believed me, but I just wanted to get away, so I casually greeted them and headed to the nearest train station. Then I explained the situation to my parents and decided to return to my childhood home. I needed to find a lawyer. Getting a divorce would surely involve complicated procedures. Once back home, I would be facing busy days ahead. I steeled myself for this as I boarded the train. After returning home, I searched for a divorce lawyer strong in mediation. With my parents, I explained the situation to the lawyer and showed them the videos of the affairs. The lawyer told me these videos would be strong evidence and that I could claim alimony later. The infidelity scandal involving Tom's family blew up, and the rumor spread around the neighborhood. As I prepared for the divorce mediation with the lawyer, I hoped my explanation would be correctly understood. A month later, I was set to meet Tom for the divorce mediation. Mike, Barbara, and Amy, why did you do this? It's fine to bring them along. No, it's not okay to bring someone without an invitation. When I met them after a long time, they looked shabby, especially Barbara and Amy, who used to wear branded clothes but were now dressed poorly. Layla, why is there almost no money in the house account? You stole the money, didn't you, thief? I haven't done anything like that, but of course there's no money. Why do you know that? Supporting their extravagant lifestyle was impossible with just Mike's income and Tom's income. Moreover, Amy claims she's trying to be a stage actress, but doesn't go to any lessons and just hangs out with Barbara, making her nearly unemployed. In fact, my income as a designer was more than double Tom's, and it was my earnings that had allowed them to live luxuriously. After I returned to my parents' home, I asked my company to change the bank account where my salary was deposited and had it sent to my personal account, meaning my current income wasn't reaching them anymore. It was my money that allowed you all to live. You understand now, right? I was about to move to the waiting room with my lawyer for mediation when, at that moment, Tom suddenly grabbed my arm. Layla, I understand that was wrong. Please give me another chance. I won't ever wrongly suspect you of cheating again. I'm sorry, Layla. I won't say awful things anymore. I'll start looking for a job and be serious about it. Please give us another chance. Mike was apologizing to me, but I knew such pleas came only after they realized how high my income was. It was clear they were after my money. Talking like this now is useless. I plan to ask for alimony, so please pay it properly. How can you demand alimony when there's no money? That's cruel. And Tom here. I handed Tom a document. Tom took the document, looking puzzled. What is this? It was the result of Tom's fertility test. After returning home, I had contacted the testing company to send the results to my parents' home, so now I had it in my hands. The test indicated that the problem was with Tom. Barbara saw the document. I handed it to Tom. Looking at my face, she appeared remorseful. I'm truly sorry for doubting you, Layla. I won't do it again. It's too late now. Please communicate through my lawyer for any future matters. Let's go, Layla. I was escorted by my lawyer to the waiting room. Afterwards, Tom agreed to the divorce and alimony claims, and we were able to divorce smoothly. 5 years later, I used the alimony I received to start my own design company. I started the business with work friends I had been close with before my marriage, and now I'm focusing on managing the company. It's still a small company, but I'm managing to balance work and personal life well. Layla, it's been a while. It really has. Let's see a lot today. Today, I went to a trendy cafe with a friend. This friend and I have been close since before my marriage, and she lives near Tom's family. After we placed our orders, we caught up on each other's recent events. Speaking of which, I heard Tom has been having a tough time. Really? According to my friend, the recent scandal was the last straw that tore Tom's family apart. Of course, Barbara and Mike got divorced. Tom's family was known for their reckless spending, and now they are struggling, living day to day in the neighborhood. Their scandal is still being talked about, and they seem to feel quite embarrassed. It seems like he's had quite a tough time, right? Alex. Wow, Alex, you've gotten so much bigger since I last saw you. Really? Actually, after the divorce, I remarried and had a child. I met my current husband, Elijah, at a corporate seminar, and initially, we saw each other as business colleagues. However, Elijah suddenly confessed his feelings, and we started dating. From there, marriage happened quickly, and I gave birth to our son, Alex. It was a late pregnancy, but thanks to Elijah being supportive of fertility efforts, we were blessed with Alex. Speaking of which, I have a gift for Alex. His birthday is coming up soon. That's so kind of you. Thank you. I expect Alex will face many challenges as he grows, but with Elijah by my side, I know we can overcome any hardships. I want to continue walking through life without forgetting to smile.